We're going to tell you why Mark Cuban selling the Dallas Mavericks might be the best thing to have ever happened to this franchise. It is Dallas Mavericks Today. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein with you. But we want to ask you this first. Who is your favorite Maverick that was only in Dallas for one season? Now, that might be a tough question for some people, Coop. So do you want to throw a few contenders out there for this one?
Yeah, I will accept Tyson Chandler as an answer because it was one season, although it was twice, but I will accept
So
him.
one season at a time.
Yeah, you could go with a guy like Derek Jones Jr.
Because Seth Curry's done that 3 times.
You could go with a guy like Al-Farouq Aminu. Maybe a Darren Collison is your cup of
how about
tea.
OJ Mayo?
Oh, Vinton, you could go with him as well. A lot of good names out there. I also put this on our community tab, so go ahead and give us a comment there as well. But let us know what you guys think. Who is your favorite Maverick that was only here for one season?
Yeah, give us your thoughts in the comment section below. And let's talk about this, Coop. You threw this show together, so I'll kind of let you guide the ship here. Why Cuban selling the franchise, at least the majority of it, is a big positive here.
And I do want, before we dig deep into this, I do want to give him credit. He did bring in Nico Harrison. He did kind of give him the reins and let him start running things before he officially sold. Cuban deserves credit for how this franchise has gone for the last 20 years. They were one of the best, most well-run franchises in the league. They just didn't get it done in the postseason, and eventually, I think just time ran its course, and it was time for Cuban to sell the team. And here's just sort of a timeline of events of what happened since he has sold the squad. In December of 2023, it was announced that he sold to the Adelson family, and Patrick Dumont was going to be taking over the team as the governor, so to speak. In February of 24, the Mavs acquired Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington to start their surge in the NBA postseason, which resulted in their third NBA Finals appearance in franchise history. And then in July, Klay Thompson signs, who was arguably the biggest free agent acquisition in Dallas Mavericks history. And so basically in the 6-7 months that Cuban sold the team and really took a step back, the Mavs have kind of transformed themselves into one of the model franchises in the NBA.
Yeah, I think the key phrase you just said there is took a step back. Like, selling or not, you always kind of got the feeling that Cuban was a little too hands-on. Not to the level of a Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, but kind of similar where it's like, look, you own the team. Obviously, you're going to have a say on things, but, like, let the basketball people do the basketball stuff. Like, you know, I've always liked Cuban because, look, he made the franchise relevant. Let's just be 100%. Honest. He's an entertaining figure. He's a people person, whatever you want to say. Like, people have always liked him. But he probably, you know, dipped his toes into the basketball matters a little too often.
He overstepped his boundaries.
So I think him taking a step back, selling or not, obviously selling kind of forced him to do that. And maybe he felt like that was the only way he would take a step back if he did sell because, listen, I've never been in that position. If I was a billionaire owner of a franchise, it would be hard as hell to not be involved in day-to-day matters with the team. But the facts are that since he, A, hired Nico, and especially this year, B, kind of took a smaller involvement approach, the team has clearly taken steps forward. Is that coincidence? I don't know. But the facts are what they are, and the arrow for this franchise is certainly pointing up.
Look, with Cuban running things, we know that the Mavs weren't able to land any of their top free agent targets, especially since 2011 when they won the title. As far as I'm concerned, Nico Harrison's 1 for 1 right now, getting Klay Thompson as the biggest target. And I know that he's been here for 3 years. The Mavs really haven't been players at the top at all, just given their salary cap structure and given what they needed as a team. I think Nico is 1 for 1 right now, and there are times down the road where maybe the Mavs are big fish hunting again that we'll get into in a few minutes. But I also just do want to make it clear that this is not like a Mark Cuban hit piece or anything like that. They were consistently good under Cuban. They were making the playoffs pretty much every year. They just couldn't get it done besides 2011. They always came up a little bit short. They were always missing that one piece. But Cuban is responsible for making this franchise one of the best in the NBA. He brought in Dirk. He kept a consistent winning franchise on the court for the better part of 20 years, and there is a lot to be said about that.
Yeah, and look, he's always taken care of his people within the organization. That's been pretty well documented over the years. I think the the Dirk, final home game retirement deal, like how all out they went. And like, obviously, you're going to do things like that for any legend with any team, but like that was almost like next level. Like
It was unbelievable.
He's bringing his childhood heroes in there and stuff like that. Like he's always been like just savvy in that way and just kind of caring in that way. But yeah, it's things run its course in life. Like sometimes things got to change, and like you said, they were very consistent. Not to make the Cowboys parallel, but like kind of like the Cowboys, a lot of regular season success, but often coming up short in the postseason. So, sometimes you need a new voice at the top, and I don't think Patrick Dumont is that voice, but he's very hands-off, which I think more often than not, a more hands-off owner has a better chance to lead to success on the court, on the field, on the diamond, whatever the sport is. And it kind of appears that is the case now. And we wanted to hear from you guys. Was Mark Cuban selling the Mavericks a good thing? Type G for good or B for bad. Obviously, he's still, a minority owner?
28%.
Yeah, so he's still obviously involved, but clearly he's not, he's kind of just more of a fan now. He sits courtside, which he's always done, but he's not necessarily in the important rooms when it comes to decision making.
He's a fan with a few $1 billion more in the bank from selling his majority stake in the team.
Hey, it sounds like a pretty good life to me. All right, PrizePicks, also a pretty good thing. Very good thing, I would say. Basketball's almost back, and PrizePicks is back. Daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. The code CLNS will get you a first-time deposit match up to $100. The way to play is simple. You pick 2 to 6 players on any given entry and take more or less on the stat projections offered by PrizePicks. You can cross over sports with your entries as well. Get some football picks in there. You got baseball as well, MMA, lots of other sports that are available. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. I got a little week 1 football play here. Caleb Williams more than 236.5 passing yards. I got Tyreek Hill more than 90.5 receiving yards. 10 to win 30 on this 2-player entry. It's PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today. It's PrizePicks. Choose more, choose less. Link is in the comments and in the description.
So
all right. Yeah, go ahead.
This is just kind of what the new brain trust looks like. We talked about this yesterday with Nico Harrison, Michael Finley, Matt Riccardi, and Mokhtar Ndiaye kind of leading the charge there in the front office. And with Cuban, you could say the GM/president was Donnie Nelson. But it was literally just Donnie Nelson and Cuban that were making basketball decisions. It's much more of a collaborative effort now and a team effort to really put this squad together, to put them in positions to succeed. And I think that's kind of why they went with a guy like Nico Harrison, who had, a lot of success at Nike with this sort of method where he's in charge, but he's also relying on his team to get the job done.
Well, and I think Nico understands too, like, he's a relationship guy. He's not an NBA scout. So,
exactly.
He needs other people. Like Michael Finley, well-renowned NBA player. Oh, and by the way, he can sell the Mavericks about as well as anybody, having been a part of this franchise for, I don't know, the better part of 3 decades now. Yeah. You bring in a guy like Ndiaye, who was critical in player acquisition for the Knicks in recent years, getting Dante DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby. Those are 2 of the moves he was directly involved in. So, listen, I think Nico has shown that with him at the helm, anything is possible. Not to steal the Kevin Garnett line, but again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, the arrow's pointing up for this team. Not only are you in a win-now mode now, but I don't think that window's closing. Like, this is a team that has an opportunity to be in the mix for probably the next decade plus, as long as Luka Doncic is
there.
Yeah,
if they've got Luka, man, they're definitely going to be in the mix. And that kind of got me thinking, like, when Luka becomes a free agent in 2026 and the Mavs have all this cap space again, here are just a few names that will be free agents at that time. Are the Mavs going to be players for Joel Embiid in 2 years? It's not impossible. Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler and Chris Middleton all on the older side of 30 and might be declining a little bit, but that's not unlike the Klay Thompson situation this year where maybe they get him on a bit of a discount. The Mavs are going to be players at the top of free agency pretty much whenever they want to be is the kind of thing I'm hinting at.
Yeah, I mean, Durant in 26 is pretty interesting because he'll be 38 then, but like if he's like your number 3, just give us like 22 a night. Like
Kevin Durant will be able to shoot a ball until he's 65 years
on
old.
a 2-year deal. I'm not sure I'd ever want Embiid, just with his injury history. But yeah, I mean, I think the Mavs moving forward are in a position to at least have opportunities to swing for players like this because they have credibility in their front office. They have players that people clearly want to play with. I mean, I know we've beat it into the ground, and I know it got kind of nasty late, in the latter part with Golden State from Klay Thompson's standpoint. But like, he still did choose to leave a place he was for 13 years to join the Dallas Mavericks.
For less money.
Like that's not insignificant. So if you're grading Nico, I don't know how it's anything less than an A just with the player acquisition alone. I mean, he trades for Kyrie, gets him to sign here. He trades for P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford. They play critical roles in getting to an NBA Finals. He obviously acquires Klay Thompson. Like, forget like everything else. Just player acquisition alone has been top-notch from this GM.
The results speak for itself, man. Go ahead and grade Nico Harrison's tenure so far, A, B, C, D, or F. I think, like Harrison said, it's an A. It just is, plain and simple.
It's been really, really good so far. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to Dallas Mavericks today. We'll continue to rock and roll with you this offseason as we get closer to training camp. Hit that subscribe button for more videos, and we will see you next time.
See you soon.